Yeah, of course. And I think, I think what we perceive it as is much more of an opportunity. I think it's, you listen to Grace, you listen to Katie, you listen to Anna talk, and each and every day we've done a really phenomenal job of trying to stay really, really present and in the moment. And I think this team has been able to make adjustments. I think they are a relatively veteran team, but I think it's just a really neat opportunity for us as Drake to step on the floor and just take it one game at a time.
There's the cliche in sports, right, where it's hard to beat the same team 3 times in the season, and there's going to be opportunities to do that in this tournament. How do you combat that? What is the challenge of actually executing that?
Well, I think you just call it a cliche. I think that's one of those things. I think it's a situation as far as you can really dive into what your game plan is. You can really dive into what your strengths are as a team. And I think focusing on that instead of the what ifs and the what could be's are definitely something that we're going to really, really work to take advantage of.
Similar to what I asked the 3 players, what goes into the challenge of the 3 games in 3 days, both of trying to make sure that they're mentally kind of not exhausted and obviously physically?
Yeah, major opportunity, first and foremost, not a challenge. But what I think it is, is just staying super, super committed to what we do and what we do extremely well. And I know it's really easy to get that crystal ball out and to kind of imagine what could potentially be. But as you listen to them talk, all of it's about just the process and leaning into the process and loving every single moment together. Because these women have spent a lot of time throughout this entire season of thinking about the possibility of what could happen this weekend and setting their intention for what is going to happen this weekend. So overall, I think we've just got to stay excited, extremely, extremely excited to play in March.
Just hearing what the players said about playing in the tournament last season, do you have to motivate them much to get back to that, or are they pretty self-motivated?
We're real self-motivated. Uniquely enough, I still remember a practice we had in preparation for Louisville last year. And at one moment, stopping practice and saying, are we going to go to actually try to win this game, or are we happy to participate? Now, it didn't turn out the exact way we wanted it to, but I do think what we did was represent Drake University and Drake women's basketball in a really fantastic way. Came up a little bit short, but I'm excited for us to hopefully be in that situation again.
How do you feel about your depth in 3 games in 3 days?
I love it. I think it's fantastic. I mean, we have 13 players. And I think what you look at in our bench and, probably through the course of the conference season, what you've watched is kind of the ebb and flow of who is it going to be? Who is the magic person off the bench going to be? And I think the great thing about our team is every single night it might be someone different, which I think makes us a little bit elusive. So I love our depth. I love the fact that we're getting a lot of contributions out of our bench. And have high expectations for our starting 5 to make sure that they're leading us in the right way, and then we don't drop off once we start to substitute.
Last year, Megan obviously hurting herself, being injured, wasn't able to participate. This year comes back. How cool is that for you and just this team that she's getting the opportunity? Maybe that was taken away. Not even maybe that was taken away from her.
Yeah, I think what's amazing about Megan and her opportunity was the moment that those confetti cannons went off and we clinched the regular season was to watch her climb a ladder to cut down a net. And I'll tell you, the piece of net she cut was a lot longer than the one that she cut last year because she's in it and she's a part of it. And I think we're all so grateful that she wants to be here and she wants to have a different taste in her mouth about basketball, because that young lady is going to leave just loving the sport. And ultimately, that's why you play, and that's why, that's why we all do this. So I'm excited to watch Megan play, and I'm excited to watch Megan make a lot of shots this weekend.
This team seems like it's just really tight-knit. You can tell Grace and Katie and Anna are all very close together.
Yeah.
You get 19 conference wins, 26 total. It seems like a team that just loves each other. Have you noticed that this team's just that fun to coach?
Yeah, they are fun to coach. And I do think that goes to their on-court chemistry is also, representative of their off-court chemistry. I do think it's a special thing. You know how I am. I think Drake is a special place to begin with. And so how they represent themselves up here and how they get along and how they talk and they're able to, I think ultimately it's about kind of being able to laugh at yourself a little bit too. And I think that's what our team is able to do because they are ultimately best friends.
What would your at-large chances be if you need them? And do you address that with the players?
Well, I'd like to turn this over to Dave, because Dave can answer that question for you. I don't know. I mean, I think it's really difficult to predict, and I think, one of the things with the Missouri Valley Conference being the last tournament, or one of the very last tournaments, the NCAA board could potentially already have a number of names up there. So there have been teams that we've been cheering for. It's great to see Richmond get a win in the A10, because that, it's a team that, we had here, which we slipped away from us sort of situation. Obviously really partial to mid-major schools, and I hope that the committee will continue to, look at our resume and feel like it is warranted that we belong if by chance we come up short in the tournament.
It was a similar situation for the men yesterday and last year, both making it. Just how cool is it having both programs playing at such a high level this time of year?
It is unbelievable. I mean, Brian Harden just walked in my office and he started doing a championship dance because, he's just in St. Louis being able to celebrate our men, and texting with, Coach DeVries and just, sharing like, holy cow, we're in awe, and him saying, okay, now it's your turn sort of situation. But I think it's special because we are Des Moines' hometown team. I think it's special because when you're a Drake Bulldog, like, you're just really wishing well, obviously, for both teams. But whatever magic rocks they're rubbing, we're going to rub them this week.